Hey folks, welcome along to this video, and we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive to see whether we can do some YouTube automation with VO2 and Gemini. At the moment, YouTube automation is with all the rage, so I just dug deep into to run a little bit of an experiment and see whether the model is capable of creating content worth watching and whether we can automate some parts of the content creation process. Firstly, before we dig in, who am I? My name is Amogelang Moloko. I'm a software engineer, and yeah, I try to make a bit of content now and then, and I'm quite interested in all the noise that's going on in the YouTube automation space. So now that we've got that introduction out the way, let's take a deep dive and see what we can automate with VO2 and Gemini. Cool. So essentially, let's go over what we're going to cover in this little talk of ours. So first, we're going to break down step by step the experiment I conducted. And then secondly, we're going to analyze the results and just have a general discussion about what the results actually look like. And then essentially we're going to try to validate the business case, or actually see if there's a business case for using Gemini and VO2 to potentially do some YouTube automation. Cool. So let's start with what exactly is Veo. Veo is Google or Gemini's text to video model, or even image to video model. OpenAI has Sora. Runway is like the other startup on the market that's got a good product at the moment with quite a bit of traction as well. And essentially all these models are trying to do is empower creators to be able to, similar to like the image generation models, but just to make videos essentially, right? From prompts essentially. And like the Veo model is quite powerful in the sense that you give it like an image or a character, and it's got the ability to consistently make content or videos around that content, or even an object throughout the entire video. In addition to that, if you're feeling like giving your video a bit of a Wes Anderson or a Michael Bay feel to it, Veo is pretty good at matching that style and that theme throughout the video, or from referencing an image or another video as well. In addition to that, you can precisely control camera angles and the likes, and control the pacing. And this is just like the tip of the iceberg in terms of some of the features that are actually available in Veo. And I mean, Sora has the exact same features as well. Runway has the exact same features as well. So, we won't be missing out on anything rather. So in order to conduct this experiment, let's just break down the tools we're going to be using. Right. So firstly, we're going to use Notebook LM just for some pure understanding from a reference video to come up with the script. And then we're going to use Google AI Studio and VO2 to generate the raw stock footage. Then we're going to use Gemini 2.0 Flash for script generation. And then we'll use CapCut to edit the video. Or I won't edit the video, but I mean, you could use CapCut to edit the video, which I did, which I'll show you the result towards the end. And yeah, that's pretty much the stack we're gonna follow. Cool. So before we dig into the nitty-gritties of the experiment, let's just at a high level review what the YouTube editing process looks like. At the moment, you've got to create a title. That's the reason why people would want to click on the video. And then after creating the title, you're going to create a script, and then you're going to create a thumbnail. Some people would argue that, after creating the title, you create the thumbnail first and then the script follows. Obviously these things are interchangeable based on people on your workflow as a content creator, right? And obviously you could definitely give this all to Gen AI, especially creating the script and the title. But I mean, that sort of removes the creativity away from the process, or the human creativity from the entire process. And definitely creating a thumbnail, you could use people are obviously using ChatGPT's image generation tool and others before it, at least for inspiration to give off to like professional thumbnail designers, or using it straight out the bat. It doesn't really matter. For this video, I used ChatGPT's image generation model to generate the thumbnail as well. Nonetheless, then afterwards you're going to source the footage for. So this could either be shooting at a set, or going to shoot on location somewhere, or scraping the internet or other YouTube videos for raw stock footage. And then you're going to edit the video, and lastly you're going to publish the video. So we predominantly interested in sourcing the footage for this video. That's where the beef of this experiment is going to lie. And then essentially editing videos, that is definitely possible. There are like a few startups in beta at the moment that provide the ability to edit, or rather their models are able to learn from the videos you've made in the past, and then essentially create draft videos, and then they give you a bit of like a vibe coding type of experience where you're in the editor and then you can vibe your way through different editing through different parts of your video. So let's take a look at how we would go about making this, or rather, no. Let's take a look at how we would want to edit. Let's take a look at how we would want to conduct this experiment or start this experiment. Cool. So I'm in Notebook LM at the moment over here. And then this video over here is the source video that I took or used from a Telegram group to be able to come up with the idea. So I'm just going to let this play for a bit.
Do you know how much calcium is left for the human body after a person drinks a glass of milk? None. And the countries in this world that are the highest dairy consumers have the highest incidence of osteoporosis. Where does the elephant get his calcium from for his huge bones? Creatures in this planet with the biggest bones are vegetarians. They get it from grass. You can eat broccoli and bok choy and all your dark green leafies. You don't lose your minerals when you cook them. You only lose the minerals when you cook if you throw the water away.
All right, cool. So we're going to ignore the medical advice or the accuracy of whatever we're saying, and we're not interested in debating that. Okay, but one key thing to note is that, like you can see in various parts of the video, like here, the editor of this video definitely used an image generation of some form to generate these images. And like what we're interested in is like if we can replace some of these parts of the video with decent raw video footage from the model. So first thing I did, essentially, right, first things first, came to Notebook LM, uploaded this video, spat out a description for us quite nicely, where it goes on to suggest that the author of the video, is trying to debunk that calcium is a source of minerals for our bones, and we better off just continuing to eat vegetables and not throwing the water out. And the nice thing is about Notebook LM, it gives you an audio overview of the description as well.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're
and then what I love about it is like if you're just trying to study a deeper topic, you can add notes or whatever that you want. It can continue to summarize things. It can make mind maps for you, and you can add multiple sources like YouTube videos or other docs or whatever the case might be. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this description. Okay, we're going to head over to Gemini. All right, so in our case, I am using Gemini 2.5 Pro, not Flash. Apologies. So all I'm going to do is say, please, can you create a script for a YouTube video that is about, let's say, 50 seconds based on the description below. Cool. So nothing too fancy. And the nice thing now is that Gemini, she's broken down the script for us like in intervals, essentially, which is going to be very important for us later because it also gives us visual cues rather, or things that we can use to send over to Sora to be able to come up with videos for us, essentially. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is now that I've got like this script, which like, is like giving me a bit of visual inspiration for things, I just want it in a simple paragraph. So please, can you put the script in a single paragraph for me? Cool. So there's a reason why I want this, right? Is that I want to now to be able to just create the audio for the video. So cool, I've copied this over and I'm going to come over to Google AI Studio. Okay. And then, so I can use Flash. I can use all the experimental ones or 2.5 as well if I wanted to. You can change the voice type that you want, or whatever the case might be. You can fiddle around with the different settings for the model, but we're just going to keep it quite vanilla at the moment. And so essentially, I'm just going to say, please, can you read out this paragraph for me? Cool. Beautiful. So,
Okay, here's the paragraph you asked me to read. Think milk equals strong bones? What if I told you the calcium story is more complex? Some experts suggest the calcium in milk isn't as usable.
cool. So I'm going to pause it there. So essentially, we've got what we wanted right now is that we've got an audio file of the script that we've just generated. So that's a big win. Okay, so, don't need to use 11 Labs. You can use Gemini to generate the audio for you as well, essentially. So cool. We've got that going, right? So now the interesting part is that now we want to use Veo to be able to generate videos for us. So we're going to be using Veo 2. You can configure it to generate multiple results for you. So we're just going to generate one. You can change the aspect ratio, the video duration, aspect ratio, and the aspect ratio is fixed. Interesting thing is that it doesn't change once you toggle between these drop downs, and the resolution is fixed to 720p as well, and you can add a negative prompt in addition to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Gemini at the top here, and as you can see, it's given us visual cues rather. So maybe what we want to do is we can copy this cue over, and then we're going to come to Veo and say create a video. I'm just going to paste a cue of a young woman of Indian descent. I'm going to paste the prompt of the visual cue from Gemini, and essentially I'm going to say drinking a glass of milk, and then cut to a scene of her questioning herself. Okay. So it takes about, okay, so in this case we're just going to hit run. Cool. So essentially, as you saw there, sometimes it takes a bit of a while because everybody's in the queue to make videos, and yeah, we'll take like 10-30 seconds, maybe a minute or two, essentially to make the video, and then we can review the results. Okay, cool. So here we've got a result or video. So here you can see the lady's drinking the milk, and then it's cutting to another scene where she's trying to question herself. Okay, but I mean, you can see here now. You can download it. You can give. I'll give this a bad response because let's see. So essentially, yeah, we've got this video from this prompt. So what you would then do is, so what I did is essentially I went from each scene, basically, or with each visual cue, and I gave it a prompt for a video to make, and then I would download all those videos with the audio, chuck it into CapCut, and then I came up with this video, essentially. So let's start again, make this full screen.
Think milk's the ultimate calcium source? Think again. Shockingly, your body might not even absorb the calcium in milk. In fact, some studies show a link between high dairy consumption and increased risk of osteoporosis. Where do massive vegetarian animals like elephants get their strong bones? From plants. They thrive on a plant-based diet rich in calcium. So, ditch the dairy myth and load up on plant power. Broccoli and dark leafy greens are fantastic sources of easily absorbable calcium. Good news. Cooking doesn't destroy these vital minerals, as long as you don't pour that nutritious cooking water down the drain. Make the switch to plant-based calcium for stronger, healthier bones. Subscribe for more health insights.
Okay, so that's essentially the video that got churned out, essentially. And as you can
Think milk's
see,
the
pretty decent, right? So in this case, I was not really worried about, making sure I line up the pacing with the audio. That's all in the editing process. But this took me, like, obviously I had quota limits, issues with the quota. I mean, if I didn't have issues with the quota, this is pretty much like a 15-minute job, just making this short or whatever the case might be by hand, and then uploading it into YouTube, which is fairly fast. So the benefit of being able to source, like imagine if I make video content for explaining how submarines are designed or whatever the case might be, I can, instead of going to shoot in some, or trying to travel to Russia or whatever the case might be and find some Cold War nuclear sub to format or whatever the case might be, I can make one up while I'm busy explaining how submarines are actually built or constructed or designed. So, I mean, the use case there is pretty obvious. But now comes a question, right? Okay, so you can automate all of this process. So just bear in mind that, like, I've only automated the script, the thumbnail part. Obviously, we can use a different service for that, and generating the source content, or the source, or the stock footage rather, essentially. Nothing's so like now would be a case of like, cool, how can I send a prompt to say, hey, I want to create this type of video, and then get all of this created, like the script, the videos, or whatever the case might be, and get all of this content created so that someone just sees all of this stuff in the bucket and then is able to edit everything. That would be pretty simple. There are multiple routes going, the N8 routes, or creating like a whole serverless architecture where essentially you're polling Gemini for the script, and then you're going to Veo to generate videos in 10-second increments or whatever the case might be, and then poof, uploading it to a bucket of some kind. So if you are going to go about it that way, there are two things you just need to know, that you need to be aware of, is that your prompting has to be amazing. So you need to spend more time fiddling around with the model to make sure that, like, hey, this thing gives you videos based on your description that also makes sense, because you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money for Veo to make a whole bunch of videos for you that don't make visual sense when your audience is actually watching the video. And then secondly, is price. So Never mind, paying for the tokens for like the script generation. I think that part will be pretty much cheap, or even the architecture for hosting this particular service. What's going to be where you're going to be eaten up is in the pricing. So if we look at what the video we used Veo2, sorry, the model. We used Veo2 as a model, and we were only interested in text and image prompt to get a video, and that's at like 50 cents a second. So say you're trying to make long form content, and I think in 25 minutes you get 1,500 seconds, right? So 1,500 multiplied by 0.5 gives you $750, which I think is about 13,000 Rand. So that's easily someone's salary for some kind of job, So, sure, you're going to have to make a solid case for, making an automated YouTube video for this price. Because usually the going rate is about like $100 to $300, or getting someone on Upwork or whatever the case might be, and getting your script generated and your thumbnail made for you. So this is extremely, 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 extremely expensive. Just to make a 25-minute video. So that's going to be factored in. And if we go and look at like some of the other competitors, so here this is Runway. They're one of the premier startups that are in the video model space. They've even had like a successful film festival with the Tribeca Festival last year, and like this is what their model's able to, or is able to produce at the moment. And then you've got ChatGPT's Sora, sorry, not ChatGPT, rather OpenAI's Sora as well. So pretty good model. You can make a wide variety of things. People have been making a decent amount of things. Like, this is quite nice. Bears eating sushi. Okay. And then let's just look at the pricing, right? So I'm just gonna skip over to the pricing, and with the pricing, it's bundled inside of ChatGPT Plus and ChatGPT Pro. So for $20 a month, you get 720p for 10-second duration videos, and at $200 a month, you get 1080p at 20 seconds. And then you can download videos without a watermark as well. And yeah, a lot more features or benefits within the Pro plan. So, all quite expensive, right? And when we go to the pricing of Runway, you get these credits on these different plans, but these credits don't really tell you how much you're actually going to be paying. Or sorry, how many seconds you're getting from your video. Let's actually check. Do they have a FAQ? They've got a help center. No FAQ. Yeah, you see this. If I'm paying for this, this is something that would be stressing me out. No FAQ or no calculator. So let's here we go. Credits. Why does the unlimited, how do credits work? Okay, cool. So there you go. So 1 second of a Gen 4 video is 12 credits. So on the free plan, you've got 125 credits. So you can do the math. I don't think you're going to get up to 30 seconds. So let's say I want to make a 30-second video multiplied by 12. Yeah, so 30 seconds is already 360 credits, right? And that's going to get you on the standard plan, right? So in the standard plan, if you're making a 30-second video, you've already eaten into almost half of your monthly credits. So it's not going to be cheap, Nonetheless, the benefits are that the benefits are like, I feel if you're not a professional filmmaker, you'd be like this is amazing. If you are a professional filmmaker, you would probably roll your eyes at it. But like, if you're just an indie filmmaker or someone that likes making video related content and has a dream of making a movie or a series of some kind, I mean, this is a dream come true because you just come up with a script, and instead of convincing people about your script idea or whatever, you can do a whole bunch of previs as well. And I don't see why Hollywood movies won't be using this as well to do a bunch of previs. So like imagine, you know, you run a deal with one of these companies, and you get them to train it on your content library or whatever. I'm pretty sure this must be happening at the moment, where these model providers or these foundation model providers are, you know, in discussions with Hollywood studios or whatever the case might be to get their models trained on like their IP and their property, and then help with previs as well, and then this would essentially reduce the need to send all the work out to get like a VFX house to be able to do a whole bunch of previs for you, and prototype ideas a lot faster visually as well. But also the best cases like for smaller shops that just want to make not even smaller shops, for like everyday people like yourself and for like yourself or like me or whatever the case might be, that just want to make content that has videos around it where I can just add a little bit of a voiceover, and then essentially have a little bit of a video accompanying it as well. Would be super helpful as well. No, nonetheless. So, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of this video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up. And also, yeah, there's one thing you can do that would help tremendously. If you want to see videos like this again in the future, just simply hit the subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing. And yeah, if you absolutely found this completely useless, I mean, give us a thumbs down, and also leave a comment in the description about how much you didn't like it at all. But if you did like it, leave a thumbs up or leave a comment and give us a thumbs up as well. Nonetheless, hit the notification bell so that you'll be the first person to know when I make a new video. Yeah, anyway, this has been fun, and I'll catch you lot in the next one. Cheers.